The Highland Hills tower the skies but the shadows they cast draw the spirits near. After all,
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Friday night. We're back again. We're giving you two shows this week, which is unusual. You know, when we thought we kind of
Spoiling you.
show. I know, Drew. But we had to do like a special show. Next week we've got Nando coming on the show, so that'll be a special guest next Friday. But I'd just like to welcome everybody to chat there. We've got Stephanie. I nearly called you Stephen there.
Stephanie.
Actually, I didn't read about it. I see that, and I thought I better not call Stephen because the wrath, the big hand will come out and go slap. You know. So tonight, guys, obviously, Haunted Scotland. We're talking about Dunvegan Castle. Now, this place it's phenomenal. It's an island of Skye, obviously, and it's Steve. You know, it's got to be a wee joke that we're going to have for the rest of
it's got to be a joke from now on, isn't it?
But this castle, and I know a lot of people here are from Scotland that do watches and stuff like that, and this place has intrigued me, Drew. I mean, we'll let the place fill up for a minute or two while we into the subject, but this place has been investigated by the Warrens, which we were talking about before the show. We were talking about the fairy bridge, and we were talking about the castle itself. I mean, it's got a beautiful story about young love falling in love with a fairy princess and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it is for the 4th century. I mean, you take it with a pinch of salt, right? Who knows what happened in these days, right? I mean,
there's some truth behind it.
I do think there is some truth behind it, and this is a lot of people are going to make a fool of this, but in actual fact, fairies are actually quite a real thing.
Like definitely. They're a big party. It's Scottish folklore fairies.
Right, so if you go to Ireland, you've got the little people, the fairies, and then you've got the leprechauns on top of that. And that actually brings us to a story, which I'll tell before we talk about this castle. And it's about Ed Warren. And everybody knows Ed Warren and Lillian Warren. Was it the Enfield poltergeist and the visits that went all over the world of investigating some amazing locations, you know?
So they are the ones that really kicked it off, all the investigation and the trying to prove it and the afterlife and things. They really did kick it off.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very interesting castle. I'll show you a quick picture. Actually, I think I've got a picture somewhere. And I've obviously got a picture in the front here. But where did I put my pictures, Drew? I'm terrible. Right, here we go. This is inside. Now, these are copyright images, copy-free images because they're black and white. So it's I like doing stuff this way, so it's easier. You know, that's
they even have the tartan fire guard. Look at it behind the door. Did you see it in the last photo? I remember my granny thinks having a tartan. It wasn't a tartan like that though. It's amazing, isn't it? Just behind the door, and that was for when they sat at the fire, so they didn't get roasted.
Yeah, it's a very interesting place. I mean, this is the bridge. This is the fairy bridge. This is where the fairy folk are meant to inhabit. You know. And it's an interesting story because we're going to tell you a couple of stories tonight. We're going to tell you obviously about the flag itself. We're going to tell you about the bridge itself, and we're going to tell you about Ed Warren's experiences when he went to the property. So let's see who's on in the chat.
Welcome.
Karen Wise, welcome to a new subscriber there. Welcome,
Karen.
I would really appreciate it, guys, if you could share this out, guys, everywhere, and hit that thumbs up button, because we're nearly at 1,300 subscribers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Everybody loves It's because of the castles and things and the folklore behind in Scotland. I mean,
Aye.
a lot of people have got, even if in Canada and such places, have got Scottish roots. So I
Aye.
think a lot of people, such as Iron, they like to hear about their homeland.
My,
And that's
have a
the
wee
thing.
drink of my
Welcome,
Lucozade
Stockport.
before I get
Yeah,
into the
they like to
stories. You know,
hear about
I
it.
need to get the Lucozade.
Haunted Castle, Stockport. Well, that's it. We are very lucky that we have got castles all around us where we are in Scotland. It is really good, and the folklore around here is pretty amazing once you start digging into it.
Oh, there's my mystical love and light.
Welcome,
Welcome. Now,
mystical.
mystical love and light. We're going to be talking about fairies tonight, and we're going to be talking about handsome young men. So don't you be getting excited.
Thank
I
you,
could
mystical,
put
for
me in a jar.
sharing.
I'll be in my jar. So,
Yes, I
ladies and
miss
gentlemen,
it dearly, and I feel very at home hanging out with you guys. See, that's it, isn't it?
that's it. There you go. You know, I look forward to my Friday night lives. I think a Friday night is better because a lot of these people are more relaxed because you
Yeah.
don't have things to do. You know what I mean, at the weekend and stuff. Plus, I get more views for some weird and reason on
We'll
a
probably keep it
Friday.
at the Friday night. Yeah, we'll keep it at the
Aye,
Friday night for a
probably
while.
keeping it Friday night. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about Ed Warren and his visit to Dunvegan Castle. It's actually quite interesting, actually, because they went in the late, good God, 70s to the castle. And I actually watched this. It was on that thing I was telling you about, Drew. It was with their son-in-law. And it was at Factor
Right.
Fiction, it was called. Was it Factor Fiction? You can actually look it up on YouTube.
Uh-huh.
And they were telling this story. And I know some of you might not believe in fairies. And I know, I don't mean the people in the chat. I mean like people watching this back. But it's just an interesting story.
Ah.
So, he dropped off for Elaine Warren at the castle, and she's doing her thing. She liked to walk through a building herself, obviously, because she was a psychic. And
I'll
he
go
went.
get my dog under control
No problem.
while Chris tells this story because she's terrible.
No problem. And he said he's going to walk the grounds, right? So he went to the grounds, and he's walking the grounds, and he's walking the pond and the river, and he sees the woods. So he gets the woods, and it's a beautiful summer's day, right? And he's walking through this kind of pine forest, and the place is immaculate. There's no litter whatsoever, right? And he sees this old stump and these like toadstools everywhere. Now, I think I'm not like very expert, but I know that fairies are meant to like inhabit like maybe toadstools and stuff. So he sat down and he fell asleep because it was quite warm. It was about 20 Celsius, something like that, 30 Celsius. And he fell asleep. And he was maybe asleep for maybe 25, 35 minutes. And he woke up to a beautiful, he just felt weird. And this is him telling the story in the early 70s. And he felt kind of weird. The atmosphere felt really weird, right? And tingly, like electricity feel, before like a thunderstorm. But the sky was blue, right? And blue in the days, no nowadays, like it's all hazy. But he looked at the bottom of his feet, and there at the bottom of his feet, I kid you not, this is what he says. There was this little, and I kid you not, it was about that size, green hat.
Mm-hmm.
And Drew's seen the documentary on it that he talks about this, and he picks it up, and it's like a handmade hat. It's not made of plastic. It's not made of paper. It was like out of some type of material, but it was like a hat, like a top hat from like you imagine a leprechaun's hat, right? But much, 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 much more smaller than a what do you call those things you put into your finger, Drew, when you're sewing?
Like the finger puppet. Yeah, smaller than a finger puppet's hat.
There you go. There's a fisherman's friend. That's what Sweeties. It was about the same size as that, right? And he's like, "What is this wee hat? Where did this come from?" But anyway, he puts that in his pocket.
Thimble for iron.
A thimble. Thank you very much, Alan. And he goes back to the castle and he doesn't say anything to his wife. He doesn't say anything to his wife, and he says, "Listen, do you want to go to the bridge, the fairy bridge? Do you want to walk down to the woods?" But that happened to him. So his wife goes down to the bridge, and you can look this up, this, and it's really interesting what she says. She says, you know, she's for a split second there, I thought for a second I could see fairy people waving at me. Because she's a psychic, she's one of the best psychics. And they walk down to the woods, they're walking back to the castle. And she turns to him and she says, "Did you find something?" And he goes, "What do you mean? You came what he was like in the documentaries and that."
Yeah.
He says, "What do you mean?" And he's like, and she's like, did you find a little hat? A little green hat? Because the fairies they're showing me like images of this little green hat. And that's them saying that you're welcome here. They gave you a peace offer and to say that you're welcome.
Not that it'll fit you, but they're giving you a gift.
Do you know for years they actually talked about that hat? There was actually there was years when even when he went to a lot of haunted locations, he would always tell the story about finding that little green hat. And I mean it makes you wonder. I mean, I never used to believe in fairies and stuff like that. Obviously, I believed in UFOs and I believed in spirits and stuff like that. But to be purely honest with you, I've watched some people at their lives and stuff like that today
The
with
thing
fairies.
I don't get with the fairies is, though, all the fairies are supposed to be connected, such as the fairies for Aberdeen are connected with the fairies to down here. How do they communicate when they're so small?
See,
You know,
that's a good point.
You know, they must have a brainwave thing, you know.
But they're see, this is an interesting fact. This is bringing us into this chap from the 4th century. Where are we here? Where's my pictures here? I can find them. This handsome young man. Now control yourself, my mystical love and light. Right,
With
so
a bonny
look at
man.
this young. Aye, so we've got this here from this is the Dunvegan, right? So this is where are we here? I've lost my plot. Here he's here. The handsome young prince that he was. Look at that. Now, you ladies in the chat, control yourselves now. You know, I mean,
he's a bonny gentleman.
They were all bonny in the days. They wore kilts and stuff like that. We're into that kind of stuff, you know.
I think they grew their hair long to save their ears from getting cold in those hills and glens. To be honest, the big beard.
I imagine. I'm just going back to the chat because I want to see what they're all saying here.
Welcome in, Dakota.
Oh, there's Dakota. There you go, Dakota. There's a handsome young man in the chat there, you know. I can see Dakota the new. What do you about Dakota? He could have his kilt on, you know, his hat with his big feather sticking at the top, marching across the hills.
Dakota would love wearing all the Scottish garb, to be honest. I really think he would like it.
When he married, I said, when he came to Scotland, he tried to get a kilt, but couldn't get one. They couldn't buy one. We need to get him a kilt and send him a kilt, you know.
Definitely get him one made up properly.
Aye.
There's definitely kilt makers can get you a kilt, Dakota.
Aye. And there's Nando. There's Nando, ladies and gentlemen. He will be on Nando here will be on the show next Friday, so tune in for that.
Looking forward to
it. The fairy flag itself. Now, that young handsome chap there will come into this story as I read out of this, and it's an awful lot, so bear with me. It's quite an interesting story, this. I'm just reading everybody's chat. I'm contained away here with this. What's that? My mystical love and light. I'm married to a handsome man.
You sure are. You sure are.
Bald and bonkers. Let's see. If I could find in my size, I would have worn it at home. See, that's the thing. That's the thing. I'm going to get you a kilt to go and send it for your birthday or something like that.
Yeah.
You're going to march about the streets of America. You'll be the odd one out. I will say that, but you know, can wise. I believe at this point anything is possible. Fairies, ghosts, aliens. I just send them all love. Hey there, so you're going to probe Nando there, Chris. It wasn't me that said that, Nando. It was Dakota. He's got a thing with probes, and you'll learn it tomorrow night in the show if you watch Bald and Bonkers live tomorrow night. But anyway, let's talk about the fairy flag before I get taken away with Dakota talking about probes and stuff like that. So here is the flag, which is it's by the worst of
orange
the weird.
part is the flag, yeah. It's very, very old.
Here's its history. The flag of Dunvegan is one of the Clan MacLeod's, the most treasured possession probably from Syria. So that the silk came from Syria. And can you imagine how hard that was to get then in the days?
Yeah, exactly.
It was woven silk in the 4th century AD. The legend has it that the Sark clan banner has malicious powers, right? When unfolded in battle, the clan would inevitably snatch victory from the jaws, right, of defeat. So every time they went to battle, right, and they whipped this flag out, they won. See, every time they went to battle and they never brought this flag out, they lost.
Yep.
So that's. I mean, as their powers run about this. There you go, Dakota. We could get you that flag and we could wrap it around you. You know, turn it into a kilt. Mind you, they'd probably shoot you for snatching it off the wall. But,
yeah, I would think so.
But see, that's the thing. Every time they put this out, they won every single battle.
Yeah.
And people will be like, "Oh, that's just luck." And then I will say, "All right, then." So every time they didn't take it into battle, they lost.
Yep. It's too much truth here.
It's interesting.
Yep.
Let's see what it says here. The traditional tales about the origins can be split into two distinct themes: the fairies, right, and the crusaders. So it's obviously got ties to the crusaders, right? So the fairy stories, which let me go to the fairy story here, guys, which is easy to get to. Where are we? I send myself all the links so it's easy to get to. And I just get into Messenger and then read it, you see.
It's
what I do, you know. So here is the young chief. So I imagine that's Dakota marching out of the hills, ladies and gentlemen. He's just come off the tour bus. So
he's
here,
very
the young
handsome.
chief of the Clan MacLeod fell in love with a fairy princess. It's been said. One of the shining folk, they're called that. There weren't the cod fairies in the days. They were called shining folk.
That's interesting, isn't it? Because the glow.
That is quite interesting because it ties into like fairy wasn't really a name then. It was the shining people. See that keys that it doesn't say they're fairies. They could be something else. See, this is where it takes you down the realm of the strange and unusual. You know.
Yeah.
So I'll leave
probably
that
the more that they got access to books and things, or the access to other people from family across the lands. Maybe they started calling them fairies in Ireland before us in Scotland, and it's kind of came across. So it could be loads of different things.
See, I never read this, but and the shining people, I find that very interesting.
Yeah,
it's not fairy, it's the shining people, which is. If we had Barry Fitzgerald on Bonkers, you need to check that one out, and he talked about like the shining people and stuff like that, which is very interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So the shining folk, the pair were determined to marry. See, he met right. See this, he fell in love. This guy here fell in love with one of the shining folk, a princess. Now he was determined to marry, but the king of the fairies, the king of the shining people, or the fairies, forbade the union. Such was the young fairy princess in distress. Now this is the sale story here. I'm reading this off that he finally basically the king felt sorry for his daughter, right?
No.
Agreed to marry. It's called let's see what's this, hand fasting. It's called the form of ritual marriage, which is traditionally would last a year. So basically, he was allowed to be married, but for 1 year.
Right.
That's right. That really, isn't it? Right. So he was allowed to be married to her, And the day was common in the Highlands. In the time, however, the king demanded that at the end of the marriage 1 year, the princess must return to her own folk to take nothing human with her. Now, that's quite interesting because you've got to remember, and maybe the king of the Shining Folk were right, because they were immortal. They were immortal. They were going to live forever.
Yeah.
Whereas this young chap here would eventually grow old and die.
And I think they were allowed to have like experiences like being a maiden for a day and things such as the fairy folk, and that's why obviously these managed to fall in love with her, meet and fall in love, because I do believe that they get such privileges to be like maybe human for a day and go around the forest and things. So he's obviously met her when she's been in a human.
Young. They
Yeah.
bumped into each other.
Yeah.
See, here it goes. Here it says here, the couple lived in harmony. Soon a son was born. So this is interesting. The son was born, and the time spent by the son was coming to near. So the year was coming to the end, right? So the son was allowed to be kept by his father because he was obviously, he was half human, he was half the Shining Folk.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So she left. She left one day, woke up, and she was gone. Right.
God.
And she wasn't allowed. That must have been terrible for him.
It must have been heartbreaking.
But it's actually quite interesting. Over the couple of paired with, they walked to the fairy bridge, and she disappeared.
Right.
So let's see. We'll just scroll here. The princess returned to the fairy kingdom. As she left, she made her husband the chief. The promise.
I think she got the privilege, Iron, to be human size for the year. To be honest,
that's what I was wondering that day. A wee thing like that. That size. But
anyway, I know, it's a bit awkward, especially having a baby.
Oh, aye, good God. Anyway, allowed the right. So this is quite interesting. The fairy kingdom, as she left, she made her husband the chief promise that her son would be carried for well and never allowed to cry. The sound of his cries would cause her untold grief. So the wee baby was not allowed to cry. Even in the faraway fairies' realm, the chief kept his promise, and the young McLeod was never left unattended, never allowed to cry. However, now this is where it gets interesting. However, the young chief grieved terribly for the loss of his wife, and the other clansfolk decided that night they should organise a great party in the castle of Dunvegan on the occasion of his birthday to take his mind away from the grief. Birthday, right? Celebrations, right? Anyway, the celebrations ran long into the night. With his high spirits, they were all partying away. They were drinking ale. They were having a great old time, right? So, and so the maid looking after the child, right? Thought, you know something, I could sneak away. And I could join the party. And don't worry, it's no what you think's happening here, guys. It's not a bad thing. Anyway, she sneaks away at the party, and the child started to cry. Right, the child started to cry. The promise was she'd never cry. Right. So anyway, all of a sudden, she appeared next to her son in the cot. And let's say the child's mother heard the cries of the fairy realm and suddenly appeared by his side. She took up the young baby and cuddled him back to sleep, covering him with a fairy shawl. A fairy shawl. That's what it is. It's like a shawl that covered kids with
shawl. Basically a cover.
One, right? The child, she started to sing to the child. And the singing, so she's singing a lullaby to the child and it stopped immediately, right? So the maid thought to herself, she said, I better get back there because I'm going to lose my job, kind of thing, you know? So she was going back, she was getting up the stairs towards the room. And what did she hear? She could hear the voice singing a lullaby to the baby, but there was nobody in the room.
Oh, right.
With the shot, right? And she went into the room and she noticed the baby had this shawl.
Right.
But there was it was like the singing get like less and less and less and less
Yeah.
and less. And it was a misty night, right? And you
Oh,
imagine a
that would be
castle in the middle of the
Yeah.
the horizon and stuff like that. It was really creepy, but at the same time,
perfect atmosphere.
perfect atmosphere. Many years later, the child grew into a young man. He reunited the tale of his father that the shawl was the great talisman for the clan, and that they should ever find themselves in mortal danger, they could wave the flag 3 times and the fairy legions would come to their aid. However, this talisman could only be used 3 times. So it's,
Oh.
did you know that it could only be used 3
No, I
times?
didn't realise it was only be used 3
It's 3
times.
times. It's like, Gina, you only got 3 wishes, didn't you?
Right, okay.
So let me see here. It's wait, lost my place here. Right, it's 3 times here. Would return to come home from taking the flag with her. The chief instantly raised the young man was telling the truth, and the flag was kept safe. The flag has since been used twice. Once when the McClune were visibly outnumbered by the bitter enemies, the McDonalds. I mean,
Christopher, you made them use one. Bloody
That's why
turns.
we lost that day, you see. That's why we lost the day, that bloody fairy flag.
Aye.
Right. The McDonald's, the chief took the flag from its case and waved it 3 times, at which point the battle suddenly turned in favour of the McLeods. And the second time, the land was blighted by a plague on the castle. The clan kingsmen were dying of starvation. The chief again raised the flag, and the fairies returned to bring cattle back to life.
Wow.
See, that's interesting. That it's like I don't know, like maybe like genies in a bottle, but it's interesting. It's only 3 times.
I know, that's great. See, I thought it was maybe until the flag lasted, until it wore away or something, but 3 times? Wow.
I'll show you some pictures shortly, guys. This may seem like a factional tale, right? But many MacLeods believe wholeheartedly in the legend, so much so that during World War II, many MacLeod servicemen carried a picture of the flag in their wallets. So in World War II, in World War I, and World War II, they carried a picture of the flag, thinking that
protect them.
Right. It aimed and defended these shores during the Battle of Britain. Not one who carried the picture was lost. Look at this. This is interesting. Every soldier, the MacLeod Airmen, right, it defended these shores during, so it was the Battle of Britain, Spitfire pilot to be exact, carried the picture, was not, every plane he shot down, and not once was lost.
Wow,
and they
there
had a
you
picture
go.
of that. Bring the flag to Dover to wave at the Germans should they try to attempt an invasion, and they never did. So did they use the last wave to beat the Germans?
Well, who knows, isn't it?
That's I didn't see. I've not read all this, guys. So it's like, I'm going to read that again. Defend this is the Battle of Britain. It carried the picture list, said 1 wish left. Indeed, the chief of the clan offered to bring the flag to Dover to the wave the Germans should they attempt to invade, but they never did. They never did it. No, they never did it. But all the soldiers for World War I and the family, World War II and the pilots all had that picture.
That's crazy. How can you dispute that? That's mental.
It's got one thing left in it. It's got one wish left.
One cry left.
What are they keeping? What are they keeping the last one for? Now I'll go back to somewhere. That is fascinating.
Who makes the decision to when to wave it? It's got to be a family decision with everybody make it.
It's got to be 3 times. It's got to be one of the clan, and it's got to be waved 3 times. And they're basically guaranteed to
get help for the fairy folk, well, the shiny people.
That's good. This is a picture of the website. I mean, that I got permission to use. I mean, it's quite interesting. That's the kind of
That looks like an urn or
drawing.
something, doesn't it? That looks like an urn that's right beside that.
Actually, it is, but it's quite interesting. This is where the church inside the castle, obviously, right? This is his tomb. So he's in there. You know?
I mean, look at the sigils and things on that.
I know. And that's the bridge. I mean, it's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah, he's definitely a traveller.
I'll go. Let's see if I think some more information on this. Actually, just gives a shaky alarm's tail. Is
Even the fairy bridge underneath it looks as if there's faces and things on the wall. I don't know if it's just pareidolia, but it really just does look a bit. Even the walls of the bridge. Welcome in, everybody. Remember, smash the like for Christopher. I think he's froze.
I know it's Dakota was sending me something there. I don't know what that was about. I just have tried to read something there, you know.
Was the sun immortal or long life? All right, I don't know, Eva.
I'm trying to find that link. See, I had a link there and I've misplaced it. Oh wait a minute, here it's here. It's there. It's the fairy. I might be misplacing things. I'm diabolical. I'm McDonald. I've got the curse. I've got the curse of the flag.
You made them use one of their tries. Trust a McDonald.
So in theory, I lost that because some idiot waved the flag at me.
Yes. Yep, that's exactly what it was.
You know, I mean, I can't find it now. I totally misplaced that. I wrote it out last night and I just can't play it. That's the fairy flag. That's the fairy flag, ladies and gentlemen.
The curse.
You know, but it's really interesting. You know, and I mean, here's something else. The drawing room, right? So here's the pictures here.
The full castle is amazing, really.
Oh no,
to be honest.
Oh, the tours are meant to be figured. The tours are meant to be really, really
I would love to go to Skye. Skye really does look a magical place. Even the fairy pools and things aside.
As it's the fairy pools, the fairy bridge. It's just, and then there's the standing stones. And I know people that go there, and it's really magical. If you know what I'm trying to say, it's a really magical atmosphere. You know,
I mean, it's got plenty of hills and glens as well, and I don't know if any of you have ever stood where the hills and glens are. A lot of you will have, and you hear echoes and things coming right through all the hills and glens. So can you imagine standing in Skye with the water surrounding you, and it would just be a magical place altogether because of it being surrounded by the ocean.
Here's quite an interesting thing that I've never seen before, which was a part of it. The fairy flag of the MacLeods. Right, that's and the drawing room of the Dunvegan Castle is the most precious treasure, right, of the clan. It is a flag rather tattered. Well, we know it's fallen apart.
Yeah.
Made faded brown silk and colourful yellow, right? The MacLeod's fairy flag. I didn't know this. In 1066, King Harold Hundred of Norway set out to conquer England. He took with him the magic flag, the Land Revenger. So this must be a different flag. This flag guaranteed victory whoever possessed it at the Battle of Stamford Bridge. Harold. So this is interesting, right? Harold 100 was killed and the flag vanished. The MacLeod-Dunvegan can trace their ancestry back and have their possession a tattered silk flag carried by the fairy flag. However, the fairy flag came to be in Dunvegan Castle at the Isle of Skye. The MacLeod's home has never been revealed, but it was said that a MacLeod received it when it was the Holy Land on the Crusade. So there's two flags.
Right.
There's the shawl that's that yellow thing, right? But there was another flag. There was another flag, and that's quite interesting. See, that makes you wonder, the one that you go to look at, is that the real one?
It makes you wonder how many more flags there are and you just don't know about them. There could be flags for other things.
There and traditional should be in McLeod's that peril in battle they can unfurl the fairy flag and they will invincibly be a magic. It will only work 3 times. It has been used twice in the past. In 1490, the MacLeods were engaged in a desperate battle against the MacDonalds, me again. They unfurled the flag, terrible me, and immediately the tide of battle turned. Many of the MacDonalds were killed in victory. No! That's that bloody flag. That's that. Disgraceful. The second time was in Watersnoosh. Oh, Christ, I can't even pronounce that. Sorry, it's my Scottish, guys. And in 1520, again, the McDonald's of
McDonald's again. Oh, my.
Danny's going to be loving this. And
those drew one.
Clearland, the branch where the enemy of the McLeods were helplessly outnumbered. The fairy flag was brought out and the McDonalds were beaten. Damn you all to hell.
Mystical saying killed or put in a jar.
This is no fair. It's disgraceful. That's terrible, by the way, isn't it? That's bloody beaten by a flag.
Each clan was as bad as the other, I will say that. Effie's got a question. She says, does the son and the descendants see the fairy realm?
Yes, I think he did. He could see.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
See them. Yeah. Hey, Christine. It's good to see you.
Welcome, Christine.
He could see the fairies. But imagine that at McDonald's. We were a bad bunch, weren't we? I feel bad now.
It sounds like you were a bunch of troublemakers, Christopher.
We all got murdered in the end, so I wouldn't really about it, you know.
Is your brother Drew on the chat tonight? Because if you ever think I've got some questions for the two of yous, was use mules and McDonald's troublemakers.
Here's an interesting. During the Second World War, many young clansmen carried the photo of the flag as a lucky charm. Unfortunately, the flag did not quite work when the Dunvegan Castle was seriously damaged by fire in 1938. But without the fairy flag, maybe the castle would have been completely destroyed. Who knows? Mm-hmm. See, this is quite interesting, right? So there is that picture. Where are we? This was in the castle. See, this is a better site. You get sights that, you know. Okay. So that's a wee bit of the flag there. And I'm going to read this. Let's see. The great clans of Scotland, you know, and that's a bit of the flag, and that's got stuff to do with the clans itself. I don't know what it shows you that in the site, what that horn is in that, but I don't know what that is.
See, I bet it's to call out in the hills, because if you remember correctly, they would call out to each other. They would be calling out their messages across to the other clans up in the hills and things. So it's probably to call out to each other.
I found out what it is.
What is it?
The fairy flag with the Dunvegan cup and the Sir Roy Marsh horn of the heirlooms of MacLeods of Dunvegan. So they would go as they ride into battle, right? So that's what that was. So that's the fairy flag, right? That's the cup, and that's the horn,
right?
So there you go, ladies and gentlemen.
It doesn't look like a cup, does it?
It doesn't look like a cup. It looks more like something, because it looks weird. But
I know. I thought it was a nerve.
I know.
Oh dear.
That's what it is. How's McDonald's? Were terrible, you know. How's McDonald's?
Tell when these McDonald's were coming. That's what it's for.
It's you know, they say the castle's haunted. They say the castle's really, really haunted. And they still say
that the full area is haunted if you include it. They actually say that the woodlands and everything around it is really, really quite eerie and dark. So it'd be interesting to see the whole area, really.
Well, it's quite interesting because say if you go to that bridge just before the sun goes down, you
Yeah,
can see the fairies. But you've got to stay extremely quiet. And
yeah.
I think we should go there and we should do an experiment, you know?
I actually do think it would work because I know people that's actually went up to the fairy pools and the fairy bridges, the
Yeah.
bridge and things in Skye, and they have thought that they've seen the twinkles.
So who wants to come with us up to Skye? There'll be 2 seats in the car.
And listen, guys, we could go live if we do get to these places. We will try and go live at least for a wee while to let you all see the place.
Mhm.
Because it's a good experience for you. I know live's not as good as being there, but I know a lot of you won't really get to go. So it's second best, but it'll be good.
I was planning going live as at Stonehouse Castle. And I
All
was
right,
also planning going live at a castle near Carlisle. That's the one I was talking about. And there's a beautiful graveyard there.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful marble, hand-carved marble in the graveyard. And I was thinking about going live in there and having a walk round, a live walk round, you know?
That'll be good.
Yeah.
The guys would
Yeah,
like
we'll see.
that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Christine would love to, but she's in Australia, so
I
quite a
know.
long travel, isn't it? You know? It's I don't think we've got any
Definitely, Nicole. We will try. We will try, Nicole. Okay.
Have we got MD for Scotland that actually watches in there? I think we've got. Is it one?
Not sure.
Is there any use for Scotland? Type in the chat. Yes. I ken Dobie's there. Sometimes
Yeah.
she's not here tonight, but she's for Scotland. Yeah.
Is Eddie is actually living in Scotland right now?
Mm-hmm. I made up my mind. I will get my immigration papers replaced. I am getting a new British passport.
Definitely, Iron.
to
You can
Scotland.
stay with me until
Aye.
you get your own house. Claim
Aye.
those Scottish roots. Claim them.
Aye, come out on a dinghy, they'll let you in.
For sure.
Aye, it's
Take up residence in one of the castles. They can't throw you out in Scotland. You've got squatters' rights.
aye. So, where else would you like to talk about, Drew, next week? Obviously, no, next week we've got Nando in, but the week after that.
Yes. Maybe we could actually do some research in Oban and things. Oh, there's loads of places, Chris. Now, even if the weather starts to get better, what we could do? I could go to Birkwood and go live, and you could be the host of the show, and I'll be live down there. Could maybe do something like that.
I think that'd be awesome. I mean, that castle, that Dunvegan Castle, that's just one a magical place. And the fairy pools, that's a place. Fairy pools. We should actually talk about maybe that one night. I mean, there's just that so many places in Scotland. I mean, I like the one that you mentioned, the Hellfire Club in Edinburgh.
Yeah, it's going to be an amazing experiment if we could do that. It really would.
Mm-hmm. I
We
mean,
would need a lot of protection, though. We would need a lot of people in the chat to protect us and keep the protection prayers up and things in the background.
I'll dress as the devil and I'll walk in and I'll say, I'm offering Drew as a sacrifice. I am offering Drew as a sacrifice. Become Lucifer. Well, I know, I get maybe make it.
If you go in there with some sort of intent like that, the spirits are more likely to say, wait a wee minute, see this guy, just date to him.
Aye. Just stay away with him.
He's a McDonald, get him out the road.
If there's any, do you know if there's any Scottish paranormal teams watching us, then contact me and we'll see about doing maybe a thing at the Hellfire Club. Because we're talking about maybe getting somebody to do the English one, the Irish one, and the Scottish one at the same time, Christine Lowe.
Well, Christopher, there is a few. I'm going down to Manchester probably next month or the month after to hopefully meet Moxley and Amy, but I'm definitely going to be meeting Amy for Shadowhunters UK, and I'll be meeting Haunted Finder, so maybe we can talk one of their teams into doing the Hellfires Club in England.
Yeah, it's the Hellfire Clubs is always interesting me and the strange things they get up to.
I've gone to it. It's crazy.
The strange, like unusual things they get into in there. Iron Fire Horse. I think you would like it in there.
there you go. Maybe we could do a stream about that, about what the
Hellfire?
Hellfires Club's actually all about. Would you
I'll tell you
like
what,
to hear about that, guys?
I'll try and get an expert on.
I assume
I'll
everybody knows about it, but we could talk about it in case the people don't know actually what it is.
that's
Yeah, get an
I'll
expert,
see if I,
Chris.
I'll see if I can get an expert on, because then they can fill us
Yeah,
in correctly. Because you can,
yeah,
some folk are like with Edinburgh and stuff like that. They're kind of funny.
yeah,
So what we'll do is we'll get an expert and to talk the real truth about the Hellfire Club,
yeah,
and
definitely.
But the show next week will be interesting with Nando. That'll be a really interesting, with the Portal
Good.
to the Paranormal. He's got an interesting channel, guys. Is a Portal to the Paranormal. So check that out. And I think Jenny was an interesting guest, wasn't she?
Yeah, I liked her. Definitely liked
Yeah.
Jenny. I felt her energy was the same as ours. She can be very serious about the actual ghost hunting, but also she can see that the laughter and things is important in it as well.
Yeah.
I think, and she's invited us over to Ireland, so that's going to be good. We can definitely make that happen.
Welcome, there's somebody new, a new person from Newfoundland, Canada. Welcome. You're a wee bit late, I'm afraid, but welcome anyway.
I do encourage you to rewatch it, though. It's been an interesting stream.
Aye, you get to hear about Mams McDonald's getting murdered in the battlefield.
Yes, about this one. Sorry, this one. The fairies must not really like you then, Christopher. We better protect you when we take you up to Skye.
I can just see it now. I can just see it the now when Danny comes over. He'll be chasing after me, or the fairies will be chasing after me.
And Drew one as well. Oh dear, guys, we better protect Christopher when the family members come over.
What's that? I would love to, Christine. I would love to see an investigation at Stonehenge, but I don't think it's allowed. We could sneak in.
Yeah, I think it really is quite strict about these type areas. They do really protect it spiritually. Yeah, I've not seen many people actually do an investigation at there. I think it gets took down because it's kind of not copyrighted, but it's like protected, if you like.
There's loads of places to go, and I want to actually maybe do a talk one night about some American locations.
Yeah.
And like the Enfield haunting in England, and I want to talk about the Amityville.
Right, yes, definitely, Christopher.
Because
sure.
Dave Schrader, he was talking about that the other night there, and that show that he did, guys, remember and check the Paranormal 60 out. That's a really good show. Dave Schrader. Check it out in his podcast and stuff. But he was talking about that the other night with Elaine Warren. She wasn't known as a guest, obviously, because she's dead.
No,
but
right.
It was like files and stuff. But I'm not ruining it for these. Just watch it. It's really good.
I'll need to send them that stuff. Then I'll send it to you, and you can send it over.
Send it to me, and I'll send them like a wee taster or something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
But there's just so many places in America that's haunted. What about Australia, Christine? What kind of haunted locations in Australia is there?
There's some amazingly beautiful cemeteries in Australia. Have you seen some of them? I was watching, I think it's Jason the Ghost Hunter. I'm sure it's Jason the Ghost Hunter.
Yes, it is.
Some of the places they goes to, it's beautiful. Honestly,
I think don't they have solstice festivals? The day have solstice festivals, Iron Fire Horse the day.
What is it?
It's
yeah, Stonehenge. Yeah.
They have festivals at Stonehenge. Why would you can't go there now? I would dance about it. I'm a McDonald. They don't look at me and start shooting me.
It's the only time you're actually allowed to go up to the stones is when there's a festival thing on, like the solstice and things. Any other time it is all cordoned off and you're not allowed to just randomly walk up to it. It is now protected with stewards and things that go around and watch people because the stones were getting like people carving their names and things on them.
Yes.
Different things. So it is all protected now and you are watched.
Can you imagine getting a wee bit of a chipping off one of Stonehenge for
like
your
that
wand?
As well, you're not allowed. You get into serious trouble if you're caught doing things like that. Honestly, you're not allowed to take anything off it.
Jacqueline Ellen what's that? It was in Melbourne prison. They closed down, made it into a living area, and it was haunted.
Wow,
See,
imagine making a
Australia's
prison into that.
just
I don't understand how the governments and things really think it's okay to make places that's been prisons into some sort of hotel or residential building or something. It's silly. Do they not think? You know?
it's mad folk.
No,
innit?
neither would
It's
I, and I wouldn't want the karma for that. Those stones are so spiritual and protected. It's crazy. I mean, look at the tablet that they actually had to take down because people were going over and graffitiing it and things. I don't know what tablet it's called again. My memory doesn't help
there's
me keep names, but it's crazy. Don't ever graffiti or anything, a spiritual statue, building, ground or anything. Don't take the
Mhm.
chance.
There's fairies, elves, little people, so many different beings. Scotch and others were real. Most unseen. I've been doing research going on 11 years. Well, contact me if you want to come on the show. If you'd like to come on the
Yeah.
show, contact me about coming on the show. There's an email on my YouTube. Contact me that
Yeah.
way. That's the
Or
best way to
join
get
the
me.
Facebook group.
Or join
Facebook.
Point to Go.
Well, there.
That's right. Or Go Squad Scotland Facebook. It's the best way to get me. It's probably the
Yeah.
quickest way to get me. I've actually got quite a lot of people contacting me now, wanting to come on the show and stuff like that. But it's
Oh,
squeezing
brilliant.
everybody in. Get what I
I
mean?
know.
Because I only do it once a week. Look,
I
last
know.
week was special because of Lisa, because Lisa was pre-booked months ago, and Lisa is absolutely an amazing
Oh,
medium,
she's so
an
amazing.
amazing
Isn't it?
person.
You
You
feel
know,
her energy as well when you're actually on a panel with her. You do feel her
oh,
energy, her calmness, and her spiritualness. You can feel it.
nah.
You feel she's
It's
special.
oh, aye. We'll be getting her back on the show sometime, maybe on Bald and Bonkers side. You know.
Yeah, definitely, guys.
There we go. I need some of my Lucozade. I'm getting a dry throat.
I am
We
saying we have an old institution, Honora Regional Centre, that housed people with disabilities and single mums, and they're as they called them, supposed to be haunted. See, that type of energy iron is definitely makes a building haunted. If you want to reuse that building, you would have to go in and do a total spiritual cleanse of the full building and even maybe take off the plaster and things in each room and replaster it, that type of thing, before it even has a chance to calm down.
So there you go. You know what
I do
I
believe you
mean,
would have to put crystals and things in the
oh,
walls to even
oh,
maybe give it a chance.
you wanted Lisa's big black ball, didn't you?
Oh, that was amazing. Can
It's,
you imagine the
that's
scrying you could do with that?
heavy, isn't it?
$700
What was
worth.
that, about £600 or something? I mean, can you imagine that?
It's
Sitting there at night,
beautiful though, it really
I can
is.
see the future.
I think I would stare into it for about 24 hours, to be honest. I would come up for air every couple of minutes, but I would be there for hours just staring into it.
What's that? I am Fire Horse. We wanted a torn down, but people are still alive who, I'll just bring you up, makes life easier, who
Yeah.
live there, but it's being turned into an artist retreat. Hope the spirits tormented them.
Wow.
See,
I think
this
the
is
government
interesting.
are under some sort of delusion that they don't have to do these things, and they really, really do.
What happens if some of their paintings, their abstract paintings, are maybe influenced by the spirits?
Well, that's what will probably happen, to be honest with you. If that's the outlet that the spirits are going to have access to get their point across, then who's to say that it will not start to come out in the paintings? Hi, Christine.
Everyone I know have gone to Beechworth, have had so much evidence there with both photos and EVPs. Do you know, actually, Julie Day, what came out we should do one night? We should actually do an open panel night. I think we can have, I think the maximum guest is, what is it, 6? Is it no more than that?
No, I think we get 9. We get 9 with the
9.
coven. Oh, I think it's
Get-
9, yeah.
We should have 9 people on if anybody's interested, and we should talk about the paranormal and how it affects people and how it affects things, and you know.
Yeah.
And if you want to show evidence and stuff, you can. You know what I mean? If you got some EVPs or pictures, or luckily, hopefully, it'll be like McDonald's getting chased through a field, getting murdered.
We are going to be talking to Christine and Cheyenne tomorrow, guys, on my channel. I'm hoping Christopher wants to come. And
What time is that at? Because I've got a recording
I'll
tomorrow.
get back to you because I need to work it out with Christine and Bree.
Mhm. I've got a recording tomorrow, but you should watch the show in Bonkers tomorrow. Very interesting show. You know.
Oh, I'll be watching. I'm interested.
And
I'll
remember,
definitely keep an eye out, guys.
the show that Dakota did the night, around about 7 o'clock-ish, you should check out. It's quite interesting. It was about people with fake stuff and the, fake things
Oh, I
and
seen
stuff.
that advertised today. I'll need to watch it.
It's very interesting, you know. So, what else are you doing at the weekend, Drew?
I'm going to hopefully try and get out a little walk and try and show you that spring is coming, guys. It is kind of here. And we are pushing for
the
it.
sleet and snow, you know. It's to be sleety snow.
I know. We'll try for Sunday.
I seen a strange thing in the sky the other day, guys. A really strange
Wow.
thing in the sky. I looked up and there it was. It was the sun. I was like, what's that strange orange burning glow? I was, and there was people stopping, they were pointing up, you know. It was like the film Independence Day, you know.
Oh, crazy!
It's no that it rains here all the time.
I know. See, the rain I don't mind. It's the wind. If the wind's there and you're trying to film and things, you can always take an umbrella to stand under with the camera. But if the wind's there, you don't hear anything, you know. Oh, it's crazy. We will be investigating soon. Just be patient, guys. We will be going out.
So, guys, I hope you've enjoyed the show tonight. And I think it's been an awesome night tonight. And it was a very interesting. But remember, stay spooky, right? Because you've got to stay spooky, right?
Yeah.
And don't let the strange creatures of the night chase you about. And if they do, send them to Drew. You know?
Yeah, send them my way. I don't mind.
And if Drew's not available, send them to Dakota because I'm sure he'll take them, you know, and they can chase them run about, you know. But I think not this week, Friday coming, but the Friday after that, we should do a special show for everybody in the chat, and you are all welcome to join a special show for you all.
Good. Yeah.
And you can talk about any ghostly experiences you've had or anything that's happened in your life today with spirits or UFOs or anything like that. You're welcome to go. Maybe Dakota will join us if you want to talk about UFOs. He'll be here. He can maybe help you with that kind of stuff.
And remember, when Dakota's there, strange things usually happen, guys. So definitely join us.
Yes, you might see him in a kilt.
Well, it could happen. It could happen.
It could happen. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Remember, please subscribe to Drew's channel, and everybody else have a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you tomorrow night or Sunday night or whatever. And take care, guys. Bye.
See you tomorrow, guys. Bye.
Thank you for joining us on this exciting adventure with Ghost Squad Scotland. Our team of experienced ghost hunters use the latest technology to explore the paranormal and uncover the truth about the unknown. Don't forget that we're affiliated with Spirit Shack, the UK's premier ghost hunting equipment store, so you can trust our equipment to be top-notch. Plus, we have exclusive Ghost Squad Scotland merch available on our Zazzle store, so you can show your support for the team in style. And if you can't get enough of our ghost hunting adventures, be sure to tune into the Bonkers TV network to catch our show in action. Content creators can even have their own content syndicated on the network, or create their own custom online TV channel by visiting bonkers.net. Thank you for your support. And remember to always keep an open mind as we continue to explore the mysteries of the paranormal with Ghost Squad Scotland.